Hi, welcome to this video where we are going to talk about SCD type 2, and we will also see how do we implement this using Databricks Delta in a Spark. The prerequisite for this video is the knowledge of a Spark SQL. That's the execution engine we are going to use, as well as if you have information around Databricks Delta, which is an absurd supporting file format that is desirable. However, knowledge of Databricks Delta is not mandatory for this video. We will have this video in two parts. The first part of the video is going to be a discussion around what is SCD type 2 and how it can help us in historical analysis. And the second part of this video will contain the actual execution using Databricks Delta with a Spark SQL. A dimension in a data warehouse star schema is the aggregate field, the field over which we perform a group by. Some examples of dimensions can be the age of a user. If we want to analyze the behavior of a user, like how the user is behaving in a click stream or application or on our say e-commerce platform, and we would like to see the behavior of different age groups, like how the teenagers behave, how the senior citizens behave, then the age of the user is a dimension because that's the field over which we perform the aggregation. And the aggregated field could be, say, purchase or interaction with our application of the user. If we are using analysis, if we are performing analysis on inventory management, like what is the influx or outflux of our inventories for different locations, then location becomes the grouping key or the dimension. If we would like to see how different categories behave in an e-commerce platform, like we have electronics, we have kids, we have clothes, we have different categories, and one item belongs to one of the categories, and then in one category we can have multiple items. So what is the behavior of individual category, like which category offers maximum discount, which category has higher purchase, then category becomes the grouping key or the aggregate key or dimension. So many a times it's used interchangeably, like dimension, aggregate key, group key. And one more example could be the type of the car in a ride hailing platform. Let's say you are using Uber car and Uber would like to see how different types of the car, like economy car, sedan car, sports car are behaving. And again, in one type of car, there could be multiple cars which are part of the same type. And to analyze the data across all the cars of a single type becomes the dimension or the grouping key. One example can be which type of the car generates the most revenue. In SCD, which SCD stands for slowly changing dimension. Usually the dimensions do not change on a regular basis. They change very slowly. They may remain static for a long time. And when they change, what do we do with the previous value? For example, if there is a customer who has got certain location, the location of the customer may not change. But if the customer goes to a different city and he updates his information from on the platform, then the location changes. Again, there is no pattern for change. There is no way we can predict how the location and when the location is going to change. But if it changes, what do we do with the previous value? In SCD type 1, it's very simple. We just overwrite the previous value. So if you're using some relational databases, it would be like update the existing value based on some primary key with the new value. If you are using some tools of data analysis like Hive or MapReduce, then you just delete the previous file and add a new file. Let's say if a customer is there who has ID 1 and he was living in New York till 20th of Jan 2020, and on 20th of Jan 2020 he moved to a new location, say San Francisco. So the final dimension table will have only one record, which will contain the latest value of the address. Now, as we have seen here, the information about the customer has changed and we have not retained the previous value, the historical value. Many times it's accepted, but if we have to do any historical analysis, we have to go back in time and see, okay, what was the location of the user in 2019? We don't have that information. All we have the latest information. And this may not give us accurate result if we would like to gather the past aggregate. Let's say, for example, we would like to see the sum of purchase made by the user in December 2019 for all the customers who were in San Francisco. Well, if we try to do this in analysis now it is say June 2020, then the customer ID 1 will be considered to be living in San Francisco. But as a matter of fact, in December 2019, he was not in San Francisco, he was in New York. So our current aggregate will give us inaccurate result if we would like to do that on a past data, because we don't have the historical data for the customer. Similarly, since we don't have the historical evolution of a record, we cannot see how the behavior of a user or of any entity, say item, has changed with a change in its dimension value. So historical information can give us more insight and increase our capability of data analysis. In SCD type 2, we try to keep the historical information as well as the current information for every dimension. So here the definition of primary key can get slightly blurred because for one primary key, there could be multiple records. Only one record will be active and all the previous records will be inactive or expired. There is lots of debate around how many types of SCD are. Let's not go into the types of SCD. All we have to focus is, apart from type 1, every SCD type has an objective of keeping the previous historical information. So an SCD type 2 may look like this, where we have one customer ID and we have all the addresses for the customers in different rows. And we can have one flag here, as you can see, the current flag, which contains the information whether it is active or inactive. And if a record gets updated, the previous information of the previous information is kept, but it is false. It means it's not an invalid record. Going forward, here we cannot say the New York address was active for how much duration and when this change happened to a new location. We don't have this information. So a better implementation or another implementation will be to have a pair of fields for the start and end date, which may look like this. And this start and end date can help us identify at what point of time what was the location. Let's say if we want to see for customer ID 1, what was the location in 2014. So this address of New York lies in the range of 1970 to 2020. So in 2014, the user was in New York. But if you want to say like on, say, 1st of March, 2020, what was the location of the user? We can again take advantage of the start and end date to decide that the location is in San Francisco. Again, we can have one additional column, which will be like true or false. This becomes kind of optional. You may or may not have it, because by looking at the current date and comparing against a pair of a start and end date, we can certainly get information like what is the current record. But if you want to see only the latest record, then you can avoid this comparison against the start and end date of the current date and just go on the current column and just write a filter query like where current is equal to true, then you will get what is the current record, current value of a primary key in our table. So what we are going to do in this implementation is we are going to follow this kind of a structure. where each record will have 3 additional fields. One is the current flag, which means whether the record is active or not currently, and a pair of a start and end date. We will call our start date as effective date, like when this record became valid, and end date is when was this record invalid or expired. If the end date is null, it means it has not expired yet. So we are going to do this kind of implementation, and the next video will be covering how do we implement in the Databricks.